بالنسبة للتقديم سيكون حول موضوع الوقف تزامنا مع إشكالية شح المياه في شمال إفريقيا والشرق الأوسط. So the presentation will be in English. It's related to how we can use وقف for the water crisis. Okay. So it's going to be a short presentation. I'm not going to, it's end of day. I'm not going to take a lot of your time, just to share with you the main highlights from the presentation. So the first point, we'll talk about the water challenges, and then we'll move into the role of innovation of grid solutions to fill the water gaps. Then we will have a historical perspective on the role of WAQF historically with water, and we'll close the presentation talking about how we can use off-grid solutions to fix the water problem in the MENA region. Right. So just some statistics on water for the MENA region. If you take the 17 most water-stressed countries in the world, 12 of them are in the MENA region. That's to show that in the MENA region, we have a huge water problem right now. Right. In the MENA region also, we have 1% of the world freshwater resources, while being home of 6% of the global population. And if we do nothing by 2030, the demand from water will outpace the supply by 50%. And finally, if we do nothing by 2040, this can affect the GDP of these countries by up to 14%. So just to show that this is a serious matter. What are the reasons behind? Well, there are many reasons. Climate change is one of them, obviously. But you have also urbanization and population growth. You've got also agriculture overuse. And finally, political instability, especially in the Middle East, and poor governance in relation to water management. What are the consequences? Well, there are many bad consequences, but let me share with you 3 of them. One of them is related to health. You know that water is strongly affecting health. So having bad water or unavailable water affects health. It affects education, because sometimes when there is no water, the kids are sent to bring water so they don't go to school. And finally, it's a matter of inequality, because unfortunately, people that suffer the most from this water scarcity are the poor ones. There have been important investments in water in many countries, but today we still have some gaps. If you look at Morocco, 80% of the population is connected to a safely managed water system. In Egypt, 79%, Algeria, 69%, Tunisia, 64%, and finally, if you take Iraq, it's 60%. What do we mean by that? It means that you've got millions of people that may have access to water, but the water is not safe, or maybe water is remote, so it takes them time to bring water to their homes. Let's see what can be done in that regard. There is what we call, usually to fill the gap between the people that don't have access to water, what we do, we dig wells. And wells, they can fix the problem, obviously, but they come with constraints. There is, first of all, costs, because when you dig a well, you need to invest monies, especially when water is very deep. You have the risks, because you can dig a well, but you cannot find water. You have issues of water quality, because sometimes there is issue of salinity of water. So having water, you can find water, but water, you can't use it. And finally, you have maintenance. And there are statistics that show that in many wells, they start functioning, but after a while, they don't function because there are issues of maintaining the pump and so on and so forth. What is the solution? There is what we call off-grid water innovations. What are those innovations? I'll show you some examples. But they give you water quality, they are effective, and you can scale them. There are many examples. So this is, on the left, you have what we call the fog net. And this is from Morocco, from Tiznit, in the mountains. They put what we call these nets. Those are like meshes. They capture water, and through these meshes, you get water for people. To your right, there is we call rainwater collection. So there are like basic systems that allow you to collect water that could be used for irrigation, but also for drinking. We have also what we call atmospheric water collectors. So those machines, they just aspire the humidity out of the air and they give you tap water, a clean water. We have also water filters. So we have, this is a filter to your left, or to your right rather, to your left, yes. And then at the mirror, you have an UV filter as well. And for the extreme in the slide, you've got what we call reverse osmosis. Those machines, they can be used to filter water. So they function very well. The only issue is that they cost money. And here comes the discussion about waqf. Waqf, actually, we've talked today about the relationship between water and waqf and the historical relationship. And waqf historically used to provide water in three forms. So you have like supply systems, like wells, irrigation, and so on. Two is drinking fountains. So those are like the sabil in the cities. And the third element is the public hygiene, especially in public baths like hammams. So here's some examples. So here you have like Bi'r Ruma of Uthman radiallahu anhu, that we showed the example of Waqf Uthman that is still existing as of today. You have Ain Zubaydah that used to bring water from outside Mecca to Mecca. That was endowed by the wife of Harun al-Rashid. And then in the example also you have some khattarat in Morocco that are mostly financed by Waqf. So those are just some examples. Drinking fountains, so this is a fountain in Fez that was built in the Marinid period, and Mr. Minister this morning talked about that. And you have also hammams. So this is from Istanbul, but across the Muslim world, most of hammams were waqf because they were essential. So we have a history. How can you use this history, this heritage, in terms of scaling of grid solutions? Well, it can be done now. We call structure called blended finance. What is blended finance means we take we call private capital and we mix it with waqf so that we can allow the financing of some project that could not be financed with the finance alone. So we do some blended finance. In Arabic, we call that like Tamwil Hajin. This is one example. And waqf can be used in that regards to make accessible those solutions. Let's take this example. For instance, these fog nets that we have in Morocco, as I said, in Tiznit. Waqf can support communities. We can use waqf money to make this equipment cheaper. So that would be one possibility. We can use waqf money to finance, to help those communities finance, for instance, by 0%. So that's a possibility that can be waqf used for to make sure that these communities have access to water. So this is one example. A second example could be, and this is a different perspective, instead of just helping people access those equipments, we can build local ecosystems. We say the local know-how, meaning that instead of importing those equipments, waqf can be used as a catalyst to develop local ecosystems, meaning local companies constructing and building those equipments. So why it's important? It reduces the production cost, because if you produce it locally, it's going to be less expensive. Also, it creates jobs and it generates growth, which is extremely important. So waqf can be used two ways. One way would be to finance, and also another way to build local ecosystem. So in terms of instruments, we have two kinds of instruments. We have waqf instruments that do not expect financial returns. Typically, those are just grants to make those solutions more accessible for those communities, and also for R&D funding. And we can have also another type of intervention through waqf. Those are like we call financial return expected, meaning that the waqf can finance some companies, local companies that are working on those ecosystems. Why do waqf would finance them? Because if you finance these local ecosystems, it means that those equipments will be cheaper, will be close to the communities. So this is another advantage. Closing thought, just to summarize this presentation, I would like to say that we have a rich history of war of waqf. So this is a history that's spanning across like 12 centuries or more. So we're not starting from a white sheet. However, Today, governments are doing a lot of efforts in terms of providing water for the populations in many instances. So talking about dams, talking about desalination and so on. However, those efforts are not enough. Waqf can complement these efforts by financing what we call innovative water off-grid solutions. And we propose some financial structures that allow Waqf not only to make those equipment more affordable for the communities, but to go beyond that by creating local ecosystems. So with that, I'm going to stop here. Thank you very much. All right. Since I have the microphone, I'm going to just summarize in Arabic. سأقوم بتلخيص سريع باللغة العربية حول العرض. العرض تطرق إلى موضوع العلاقة الوطيدة ما بين الوقف والقطاع المائي. هذا يعني على مستوى أكثر من 12 القرن في العالم الإسلامي، فكانت هي علاقة قوية، حتى أن الوقف كان هو المسؤول الأول عن تزويد الناس بالماء الشرب، وكذلك بالنسبة للقطاع الفلاحي. فهناك تاريخ عريق. الآن التحديات المائية تفرض علينا كبلدان أن لا نكتفي بالدور التي تقوم به الحكومات، فالحكومات تقوم بمجهود جبار لكي توفر الماء للجميع، لكن العمل الحكومي أو الاستثمارات العامة في موضوع يعني السدود، في موضوع إعادة تدوير المياه، في موضوع تحلية المياه، لن يكون كافيا لتغطية جميع الطلبات. هنا الوقف يمكن أن يقوم بدور ريادي لتكملة المجهود على مستوى الحكومات عن طريق دعم الحلول المبتكرة التي تشتغل على المجال المحلي. والمداخلة قدمت مجموعة من الحلول على المستوى الهيكلة المالية بدعم الفئات التي ليس لها ولوج للماء الشروب، الدعم المالي، أو عن طريق خلق منظومة مائية لصناعة هذه المنتوجات على مستوى البلدان الإسلامية عوض استيرادها من الدول الأخرى. شكرا جزيلا.